full up or something?
We are live now. Good evening, everybody.
Oh,
This is Omar Serrano with the Tilted Lawyer podcast. I'm joined by a very sleepy Lauren Neidigh. She was the late one today.
I'm not like Australia sleepy, let's put it that way. But
she just got back from Legoland, I think, and she was
no, dude. I'm in Orlando. So I was in Orlando. I was in Winter Haven. Now I'm in Orlando. So I'm from a hotel room right now.
The ever traveling Lauren Neidigh. Where are you at right now? You're literally in Orlando right now.
Literally, right now.
How far is that where you like normally live? Like, is that like the difference between Sacramento
a couple hours.
And say? All right.
So I did 3 hours from home to get to Winter Haven, and then it took an hour and a half to get here because of traffic. But then I'm also at the end of the week I'm going to Sanibel, which is like another 3 hours south. So I'm going all over the place this week.
There is peace to be found in staying home, young lady. Just so you know, you don't have to be the traveling caterpillar over there. Anyway, we got
it's actually not that chaotic because I travel alone, so it's not all that not peaceful. You know what I mean? So nobody bothers me much.
Well, I guess it's the opposite for me. Everybody bothers me for various different reasons.
I don't have kids, man. I'm doing all this. I'm doing all this now while I'm single and I don't have all that because I don't like traveling with people.
Now's the time to do it. Yeah.
Pass.
What's up, Rob? Rob is in the chat. Henrietta's in the chat. Diane Rizzery. Please give us your opinion on the NPR
interview. Daniel, I think. Diane.
It literally says Diane. Diane.
I don't know. I thought it said Daniel. It looked like Daniel, man.
I did not listen to the NPR interview with Perez Hilton. Have you, Lauren?
No, so it's not actually an interview with Perez. The interview is with Megan Twohey, who did the article with the New York Times.
Oh.
And so she, I guess, was talking to NPR, and like this is like an old interview from a while back, a little bit after the article came out, I guess. And she was saying, well, Blake told her that the misconduct that she was alleging itself was actually not she didn't say not that bad. She said she's had far worse or something. It was like not the worst, but the thing that prompted her to basically do all this was the retaliatory smear campaign. So she was essentially saying, what most people are getting from that. And I don't totally disagree. I think the wording you can kind of play with that a little bit to make it, you could argue with the wording, but it kind of sounds like she's saying it wasn't that bad. I'm angry because my reputation is in the tank. So, that's kind of what was going on there. I don't know if anybody in the chat probably has a different perspective on that, but my takeaway from that was she was basically saying, like I've had a lot worse. This was really not that bad. But I'm just upset that my reputation is taking a dive. So
she's not the only one. I think anybody involved in PR with this case, their reputation is probably on thin ice.
Yeah.
No matter whether you think they're good or bad.
Remember though that this conversation took place before any of this hit the press. Any of it. So before she filed a CRD complaint, nothing was done yet.
Oh, I thought this was recent.
She's like, I'm going to file a CRD complaint. I'm going to file a CRD complaint because I'm mad that my reputation is in the toilet, basically.
I see. So did you want to talk about this discovery motion or this hearing that's going to happen on Tuesday?
Yeah, I totally don't understand that because that was like, that just got lost in the middle of everything, I feel like, last week. So
I mean, there's not honestly lots of, just their letters, they're bickering over discovery. There's really not a lot to it. It's almost not worth mentioning. It's all about, whether or not they're going to quash subpoenas, whether or not they think the subpoenas are quashable. Ultimately, there's been several meetings of the minds between the parties themselves. There's been inexplicably non-parties try to weigh in on the issue about the scope of discovery. And I guess the hearing on Tuesday, if it happens at all, is literally going to be about scope. And so it's honestly not much to see here. Nothing that's going to affect the case. I'll tell you that much. It's just we're waiting on discovery as it is. This is just about what they're going to be forced to give over or hand over. That's all.
I don't really understand. I didn't understand why that required a hearing versus just the judge making a decision.
Well, I mean, it's not like a hearing. Like not all hearings are like these big, fancy, crazy made for movie productions. Like this one will literally be almost. I mean, I've done these sometimes with the judge where we don't actually go in. We just do it remote and we're on speakerphone on a conference call with the judge. If all we're doing is weighing in on this very minute discovery issue, do we all really need to dress up in suits and come in and do the whole thing and have a court reporter present? And they might do it in chambers. But they're in federal court and they filed this motion to compel. They were granted a hearing date, and the point of it is they're number one, they're required to meet and confer, which is why you have these letters to the judge, basically updating them. Look, we've been trying to meet and confer since early May. We don't have any resolution on these specific issues. And so that way, when you get to the hearing on Tuesday, the judge is going to focus in on the things that they can't resolve. But they don't get to go in front of the judge unless they actually do meet and confer. And so there's that. I'm boring myself. I know that you said it was going to be
what's up?
I'm boring myself as I'm talking about this. I feel like I'm the guy in the office. I'm explaining how I sell paper for a living. And never mind. Jim Halpert.
I mean, you would be probably as good a paper salesman as you were a Kirby salesman. So I mean,
I wouldn't worry about Kirby's. It too much. Let me tell you something about Kirby vacuums. Back in 2001, they were selling for a couple grand, right? $2,000 for a freaking vacuum.
Fuck. I had no idea it was that crazy.
No. And I mean, what does that even cost? Like that's like $4,000 today or something like that, maybe less. But I sold the fuck out of them Kirby machines. Shit. And there's like a whole
take my mom's old vacuum. That's it.
Let me tell you what would happen. Now, maybe not you. You'd probably tell me to piss off. But like I would knock on your door.
Yeah.
But listen, let me tell you something. I got the world's greatest vacuum cleaner. You got to see all the things they could do. Do you got problems with your plumbing? Do you got problems with their cleaning your kitchen? Do you have problems with whatever, this and that? I can solve all of your problems. And you know what? You don't have to buy anything. I just got to get this off my list. Let me just give you a 1-hour presentation. I'd be in my little suit. I was going to say bow tie, but I've never worn a bow tie. My little suits. It'd be like a little 21-year-old Omar over there trying to sell Kirby's. And I'd get on my hands and knees and I'd be scrubbing on the rug and picking up all the stuff.
Yeah, that would do it.
Look at all the stuff that your vacuum left behind. And at the end of it, like an hour would turn into 2 hours. Then I would sell people Kirby's. I was pretty good at it. I just felt morally wrong selling vacuum cleaners for that long. Also, it was the worst job I've ever had.
That's not what they were trying to buy. Come on.
Zach with the 5
You're
says,
right. I would not have purchased a Kirby from you, but other women, yes.
Well. Zach with the 5 says, I have to go to court for smacking Lauren. My defense, she has such a striking face. That's a good one.
I mean, he's pretty smackable as well. So
Lauren was not amused. Fair. Lauren does not have a smackable face. You know who does have a smackable face? Stephen Miller. For starters.
Who the fuck is Stephen Miller?
Oh, never mind. Just if you Google his face, you'll want to smack it for no reason.
I'll be the judge.
But Lauren does not have. If you ever meet Lauren in person, she's like the most huggable person ever.
Who is this guy? He looks like I don't know. He looks like one of those. Gumby and Pokey. He looks like he's one of those of himself.
Oh, like a claymation.
Well, yeah, that's it.
I don't know where I've seen Zach from, but from far away with my bad eyesight, he looks a little bit like my brother.
Huh.
Chris.
Are you saying he looks gay? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he's my other favorite gay. I wasn't saying he looks gay, but I'm just saying by association.
It's the fish. He's kissing it, so it kind of throws you off. I get it. Also, Shizzy Wiznut came and gave us a raid. Thank you, Shizzy. I appreciate that.
Oh, what's up, Shizzy Wiznuts? Anyway, that's the discovery stuff. It's really boring. I don't think we're here to talk about that. Tomorrow, Blake Lively is supposed to get deposed. And I have, about a month ago, I had Anita on the show. She was playing the role of Blake Lively, and I was fake deposing her.
Oh, God. I love it when you role play.
I know. Well, we were role playing, and it came off. I've just how I would attack Blake Lively, and that's kind of what she's facing. That's happening tomorrow, and there are some inherent dangers in her conducting the deposition. Number one, and first and foremost, I haven't heard any rumblings that she's going to try to dismiss her SH claims. As far as I'm aware, without having seen anything on social media or in the media in general, she's still going forward as this champion of women's rights, trying to usurp that role from Baldoni.
That's the storyline so far. Yeah, but the people speculated she would try to drop it after she did that whole 19 women's organizations crap after the judgment, which the judgment had nothing to do with that. And so they were thinking, she's going to try to drop those now and just kind of like play the circus or whatever. But she doesn't know what all they have Like they haven't given her all the footage. They haven't turned over all the footage and stuff like that. So she doesn't really know all that going into this.
Right.
So that'll be interesting. Because I'm assuming they have more, footage and stuff, because they were saying they were going to put all this out there. Then, of course, Blake's lawyers go to the judge, say, this guy's litigating in the press. We need to stop that. And so they apparently have more footage. They just we haven't seen it. So I'm assuming that's going to kind of the same as the dancing scene show that things did not happen the way that she described. And at that point, I wonder if then she would try to drop that before that gets shown in such a public
If she was going to try to drop it, I feel like we would have, like, for example, her deposition is scheduled for tomorrow. I haven't heard anything about her wanting an extension or anything like that, or wanting to meet and confer to move it back to a different date for further discovery.
So it's too late for that now, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, well, now, unless she has like some mystery illness or something that she comes down with in the morning of, she would have to have a really good reason for letting everybody know now that she wanted to continue the deposition.
What if she didn't let anyone know and she just didn't show up?
Oh, well, then she could be held in contempt of court. She could be sanctioned, attorney fees and costs. There could be like negative jury instructions that would be imposed at trial. There's a whole host of things, bad things, meaning that the jury would be given instructions about how they may interpret her non-appearance at a deposition. In other words, they could form conclusions about her veracity or propensity to tell the truth based on her non-appearance for the deposition, which is extremely unlikely to happen. Because even if she didn't appear, I gotta imagine they're going to make her appear at some point. But more realistically, they could hold her in contempt and they could sanction her. Those are the two immediate penalties, which I don't think that she's going to be keen on having to involve herself with either of those. So my guess is, if you haven't heard about her trying to continue it yet, by the end of day tomorrow morning, you will have heard that she successfully completed the deposition or is in progress of completing the deposition. And if by some chance it got continued, it would be by agreement of the parties, or because she called in sick. And maybe the Baldoni attorneys decide to call bullshit on that and try to sanction her for that, for letting her know last minute, asking for proof or whatever, ordered show cause for not showing up for a deposition. There's lots of bad things that could happen. I don't expect that that's how it's going to go down.
No,
I'm fully expecting it to go down.
If she were to call in sick or whatever, I feel like she's a rich, high profile celebrity. She's not going to have a problem getting a fucking note from Solantic or something. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but I don't think she's hard. I'm going to say no because of how that's going to look in the headlines. So,
well,
I'm going to say she's not going to do
that. I'm just going to err on the side of, I think she's going to get deposed tomorrow.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I don't think she's not going to show up. I don't think she's going to skip it. Yeah.
And when she shows up, this is what's going to happen. They're going to grill her hard on the on-set harassment incidences. All of the unplanned kissing incident. They're going to talk about the trailer incident, about her inviting people into the trailer, and then having that show up as one of the incidents that is the cause of her sexual harassment complaints. They're going to ask her about why certain text messages were redacted in the way that they were without giving full context. They're going to ask her about why she failed to lodge an HR complaint. They're going to ask her about if she'd ever been advised how to lodge an HR complaint. They're going to ask her when she was advised to do that. Why didn't she do it? All of these things, they're going to grill her on all of those specifics because they have to, because of the causes of actions that they're facing, which is, business code, corporations' failure to protect employees type of stuff. In other words, if there was a formal HR complaint, it would have required Wayfarer to do certain things. And since there wasn't an HR complaint, they're legally not required to do certain things. So that's going to be a big topic of discussion. They're going to probably talk about her conditions to return to production, so why were these all the conditions explained to me? The incident on January 4th about this meeting that took place in New York that was attended by you and your husband, Ryan Reynolds, Mr. Baldoni, Jeremy Heath, and all these different people. at this meeting, you know, what was the whole point of that? And then were you planning on showing up if they didn't comply with your demands and this and that? They're going to probably go into a lot of that. They're going to talk about the collaborative interactions to, I guess, change the script, production schedules, wardrobe schedules, media advertising, creative control, those kinds of things. They're going to get into all of that stuff. And really, their whole objective for tomorrow is to get her into as many inconsistent statements as they could glean from her. Okay. Because they're going to use that against her in settlement talks, potential settlement talks, and at trial. Try to get her to say as many things as possible that don't make sense. Like just the real low-hanging fruit one would be like, so isn't it true that you invited Justin and Jamie into your trailer? Yes. Yeah. And isn't it true that when you sent them that invitation, you were actively pumping because you were breastfeeding at the time? Yes. And isn't it true that as you invited them in, you were actively breast pumping? Yes. And you were in a state of undress? Yes. Well, did you warn anybody ahead of time? Did you object? Did you say, hey, let me get like a towel or cover myself? They're going to get her in a lot of those kinds of silly conversations to just make her sexual harassment claims look ridiculous. And I don't want to get too far into this before I give you an opportunity to like ask questions, because I know that you have your hand on the pulse of what everybody's wondering about. But I've kind of already touched on this a month ago. Yeah. About how
I don't have too many questions about the sexual harassment stuff. I mean, it already looks ridiculous to me. So, but that's just me. Somebody says here, I hope they ask her about, that's Be Better. He says, I hope they ask her about Baldoni secretly taking pictures of her, which she alleged in her second complaint, because that made no sense. I have no idea what she's talking about. I guess she was alleging that they had cameras on her or something when they weren't supposed to. So I don't know. She said a lot of stuff that I'm just kind of like, that's really easily, you know, either you can't prove that or it's easily disproved. So I'm going to, you know, stuff like that. But I don't know if that's, you know, something that would come up. So what is like a question, an example of a question like you would not have to answer? Is that a thing? Like if she didn't want to answer a question?
So here's the rules. I'm going to prep her the same way that I would prep. Well, pretend like you're Blake Lively. This is what I would say to her. Listen, and this is like the abbreviated version. We'd have like a whole like 3 or 4 hour talk ahead of time, maybe rehearse for a couple of days. But the whole spiel is this. Listen, they're coming in here to make you look stupid. And I want you to understand that you're going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to be us.
Well, they're going to be successful, but yeah. Okay.
Everybody's going to be in suits. Everybody's going to be staring daggers at you. They're going to look like they hate you. You're going to feel really uncomfortable. There's going to be a court reporter recording everything that we say. There's going to be cameras in your face. Their job is to keep you talking. Whenever you say words, extra words, they win. The fewer words that you can answer their questions in, the better. If you can answer or give a one-word response, you win. If I ask you, what did you have for breakfast that morning? Your answer should only be, you know, bacon and eggs or pancakes or nothing and nothing further. Your answer should not be
$168 racist muffins.
Yeah, well, I woke up in the morning. I was really hungry and I was feeling like pancakes, but I didn't have any mix. So I went to 7-Eleven and got, I don't know why I should go to 7-Eleven. I went to Sprouts and I picked up some bacon and eggs and some ground beef. And I made up this really bomb-ass omelets with bell peppers and onions and mushrooms. And nobody asked you those questions. You get the difference?
Oh, sorry. The chat is trolling me right now, man. They're all saying the words that I hate the most. Just be yummy and flirty, Lauren. Just somebody said moist for no reason. Okay. Get out the blonde wig. I don't have a blonde wig, guys. All I got is a brunette wig, and it smells like shit. I gotta tell you, because I wore it so many times. You can't wash fake hair, can you?
Yes. So, well,
yes.
Why
I don't know.
would you
I've
need
never
to
washed a wig because it smells bad. I was wearing that stupid Laura Red turtleneck with the brown hair, you know, whatever.
Oh,
so
God.
too many times I was like sweating in it.
You know, Colonel Kurtz has a Blake Lively wig. I think you should adopt
Colonel
one
Kurtz
of your own.
does have a Blake Lively wig.
I caught her on a live. She's doing like a 5-hour live with a wig. Well, I caught that live. I was like, what's she on? It's like, no, it threw me off like an hour because I just had it on in the background. I was like doing something else. I was like, oh, I remember her looking differently. Then it occurred to me, holy shit, that's a wig. Okay. It was a realistic one, a realistic looking one.
No, she didn't
I guess.
suddenly grow blonde. Oh my god. Somebody
I
says,
don't
"Can
know.
they
Maybe
grill
she
her
covered
about
her
Van
hair.
Zandt?" I don't know if that's like, can they ask questions about that? I don't think so,
They could.
right?
Okay.
I mean, they
I forgot. They could
does
ask
she have to
questions
answer
about
that?
what she's required to answer every question asked.
Okay.
Her attorney. Okay. So technically, her attorneys are only allowed to object to the form of a question. For example, if the question is vague or ambiguous, they could object to that. And if the question is a compound question, meaning two questions in one, they could object to that. But they can't object, for example, on the basis of relevance. They can't object on the basis of, hearsay. They can't object on the basis of some other technical thing that has nothing to do with the form of the question. So they're limited. And by design, she's supposed to answer all of the questions. Now, it can be the case that her attorneys would instruct her not to answer certain questions. And then that might become the subject of a motion to compel answers at deposition for further hearing. That happens a lot. For example, I have counsel, you've asked my client that question 8 different times, 8 different ways. I'm not going to allow my client to answer that question that you just asked. Move it along. I might say something like that. And then, it would be up to them if they think that I was wrong or if I'm right, and they could do a motion to compel. But generally, that doesn't happen. Generally, at depositions, they're pretty casual. We're trying not to get into fights with opposing counsel, although in this one, it's going to be really contentious, I promise you.
I was going to say, these guys are not really, I feel like they're not going to.
I'll tell you what, the closest I've ever gotten into getting into a fist fight at a deposition, was at a deposition. Never at any other point in time. Me and this other attorney just really hated each other. And I hated this attorney because he was really fucking good. And I was just a little young whippersnapper, and he was just like taking me to school, like at every level. And I was getting really frustrated in it, and then there was a point like where me and him were like this at the deposition. And the court reporter's like, guys, if you guys don't knock it off, we're going to go home. It's like, okay. And so we continued the deposition.
Sexual tension in there sounds crazy, man.
Oh, it was just so... Oh, at the end of it, we ended up shaking hands, and I told him that I respected him a lot as attorney. Like, we made up and stuff, but it could get really contentious. Like 90% of the time at these depositions, they're really cordial. Like, we just get in and out. I don't want to be here all day. Do you? No. So we try to make it, an hour or two. This one, though, I feel has the potential to be like a 2-day long deposition.
I'm sorry. Instead, Be Better says, I hope they ask her if Ryan Reynolds is gay. I don't think they're going to ask her.
So when's the last time you had actual relations with Ryan Reynolds? Objection, counsel. No. How was that relevant? Oh, I'm sorry. Was that an objection to the form of the question? No, it wasn't. So Lively, I would like your answer. When was the last time you had sexual relations with Ryan Reynolds? I would instruct my client.
I don't even want to know the answer to that.
Yeah. You also shouldn't be a dick like that in deposition. You should not ask those kinds of questions, ridiculous questions, unless there's some merit or time to an element and a cause of action in the case.
Sure. All right. Sorry, people are still talking about how to wash the wig. Thanks for the advice.
How do you wash the wig?
I'm getting
why couldn't you just
advice here?
Wash it in the sink or something? Oh, who was GG?
Bro, I don't know.
Are people getting into arguments in the chat? At B, better that he's 100%. Oh.
Yeah,
I honestly don't give a shit about Reynolds being gay or not. Maybe he is. Maybe he's bi. What do I care?
Nah, I mean, I obviously don't give a shit if a dude is gay. It's just kind of weird if, you got a wife and however many kids, but that's your life, I guess.
No, people get married for lots of different reasons. One of them is for business associations. Sometimes, hey, Cassidy's in the chat. Sometimes, you know why people get married. It's not always for love. Sometimes it's just really good marketing, like Bennifer.
I'm on the fast track to finding a sugar mama. So, it's it is what it is.
Well, if you're going to do the sugar mama thing, just do not sign the prenup.
Absolutely not. No.
Because what would be the point of that then? I guarantee you they're going to talk about the marketing strategies. They're going to talk about the timing of her complaints, consistent with their theory that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and their PR agents conspired to concoct a sexual harassment complaint in their attempt to wrestle control of the film and for movie credits, all of those things. All of those things are going to come. So they're going to really harp on the timing of the complaint. They're going to harp on it and try to make it look like it was retaliation. So why December 31 of 2024 if this was happening way back when, like a year prior, all of those things. They're going to ask her about the damage to her reputation. They're going to talk about fabricated sexual harassment claims to leverage control of the film. They're going to talk about the website. They're going to talk about all kinds of things. But the main goal of this deposition is they're going to try to pin inconsistencies into her testimony. The same way that you saw with Laura Owens, where they just destroyed her in the deposition. And that basically led to her getting destroyed at trial because she said things in deposition before the trial that committed her to certain answers that she couldn't run from at trial that led to her ultimately getting charged with felonies in the state of Arizona. So the question as to whether or not Lively's going to get out of this, no, man. This is either if it doesn't happen tomorrow, it will happen forthwith.
Right.
In other words, the way that this judge has been, if this judge is not bought, like so many people out there think, I did a whole show about that.
Yeah.
If he's not biased, according to
I
the
think
way
we've done
that
like
he's
5
been
shows about that.
I know. Well, I did one where I actually dove into Cassidy's video and that motion from I forget what was his name.
From Brett.
I talked about that. Yeah, Brett's motion to recuse the judge, which I don't think is going to go anywhere. But if Judge Lyman is consistent, if this gets continued tomorrow, it's probably going to happen within a couple of days of tomorrow or like within a week. But it's not going to be like another 30 to 60 to 90 day extension. I don't see that happening. We got trial coming up next year and we don't plan on continuing it. So let's get it done.
I mean, it's 9 months away? So
March of 26. Jesus, it's already 2026. Depositions are usually at 9 a.m., 8 a.m. It depends. It's up to them. Whenever they start, really. But the last thing Lively wants to do is not show up for the deposition unannounced or late. I've seen attorneys be there like on time for the deposition. And then 5 minutes later, the other party's 5 minutes late. Well, we showed up, and then like make a record of the court report, and then everybody goes home. And then the late parties, and then they file like a motion to compel because nobody wants to do deposition. Depositions suck. They're so boring. It's like so boring. It's like, okay, it's literally just the attorneys like in their pissing matches asking stupid questions that we already know the answers to. There's no judge there. It's just the court reporter. It's just a huge waste of time. And it could be over whenever everybody says it's over. But in this case, like I said, a 1 to 2 day deposition is what I'm expecting.
She
are the depositions attorney eyes only? Probably.
So she said she did not, and I don't know why she thought that this was a good idea. She said she did not want Brian Friedman to be the one taking her deposition. Obviously, she doesn't have any say in that. Why? Like, why would you write that in a letter? Like, why would you ask for that? I feel like that you're just kind of like showing your fear there. Like, what, you don't want him to take your deposition. So what? It's not up to you.
Wait, where does she say this?
I don't know. This was way back. It was letters. There was letters that they came before that first hearing with the judge. That was on February 3rd, I think.
Yeah.
And she said she did not want Brian Friedman to take her deposition. She did not want him to be the one to do it. And like, why would you say that?
Well, she's going to, if you ask her and she has an opportunity to explain it in testimony, I'd imagine she would say that she feels afraid of Brian Friedman because of his cavalier attitude towards her sexual harassment complaints. And she doesn't want to be further victimized by his misogyny.
Further victimized? That's fucking cute.
Well, that's what she would say. Right. You know? I don't buy that. I'm just saying if she had an explanation, that's what she would say.
Yeah.
Is there a time limit?
Yeah.
No, but it can't be absurdly long. Like you don't get an unlimited amount of time. Usually most depositions wrap up in a couple of hours. Sometimes they take all day. Sometimes if they take all day, we set another date for deposition. If there's a good reason to do that, and if one of the parties objects to another day of deposition testimony, they'll file a motion, a protective order from the judge, and the judge will decide whether or not it goes further than that or not. That's how it works. Melissa is in the chat. I got distracted by what you were saying when I saw Melissa's name pop up. My old assistant. Good to see you, Melissa.
Why doesn't Jocelyn ever come say hi to us?
Jocelyn has better shit to do, man. She's like, she is so,
I could
not
tell.
give a shit about this case.
I could tell. Yeah.
I used to make her, I didn't used to make her do anything, but when I used to do my shows earlier, like during work hours, she would come. But since I started doing them later, it's like, hey, you can stick around and be on the show if you want. She's like, yeah, I got shit to do. Okay.
No. Yeah. No, I remember because you used to have the camera set up pointing at the couch.
Yeah.
She would be on it. Yeah.
Well, that's when I used to do that thing. I used to have Ilion on the show and Melissa and Jocelyn, the whole thing.
Yeah, you used to have friends, man.
I did. The last person to be on my couch was you.
And look how that turned out. The audio didn't work. I was crawling on the floor. It was a mess.
Yo, that was... And you were sober and crawling on the floor.
Yeah, I still do that. Yeah.
Throwing paper grenades or whatever you did. I think you were like doing bunny ears, or like you pulled my ear.
I don't need alcohol for that. Fuck.
Well.
That was from the heart, dude.
Yeah. So as far as look, I think the objectives are pretty clear for Lively. There's inherent dangers, and the dangers are simply that she has a weak case. Today, or the day for deposition, was always fast approaching. She's not going to get out of this without being deposed. There's no chance that happens. She's going to be deposed no matter what. Whether or not her testimony is released, I'd imagine she probably files a protective order to bar its release if it doesn't already apply to attorney's eyes only. But I think they already made a ruling on that back in February.
I can't remember, honestly, if that was.
Yeah, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it is. But, yeah. Just don't expect to know the contents of the deposition after tomorrow. There's very little chance of that. Yeah, all I'm saying is the danger for Lively is they're going to confront her with some really good questions, and they're going to force her to give answers to some of her ridiculous claims. And the way that she navigates her weak claims of sexual harassment are going to go a long way in determining whether or not she seeks a settlement with Baldoni and his attorneys or not. Which, behind the scenes, she might have already done that. I don't know.
I don't know either, but they're not settling unless she says he didn't harass her. So,
well, we're a long way from that. I'll just tell you this.
I just don't see it happening.
If she gets her ass kicked on deposition tomorrow, the chances of a settlement and her dismissing the SH claims with a full-on apology to Baldoni raise a little bit. I mean, I honestly don't know if that's a realistic expectation.
Still probably not very high. She does not strike me as someone who's going to just give it up. She's going to go down kicking. So, I think it's going to court. But
I'll tell you what,
I think here's how I read you could probably ask her questions about questions about all this footage that they have that she doesn't have right now. She doesn't know what footage they have. And so with the dance scene footage, there's obviously a lot that she said in her complaint that did not add up with the actual footage, that she had not, she wasn't seeing it, or she didn't know that it was going to be public. And so I'm assuming they will ask her a lot of questions about that kind of stuff that's going to make it look more and more like she, not even because she's going to say she misremembered things probably, or they'll say she misremembered things, but she more and more she's just straight up lying about what happened. I feel like that's going to kick her butt a little bit.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that, just reading Brian Friedman and his statements in the press, even in the wake of the dismissal, he doesn't strike me as a guy that is resigned to try to settle. He knows that he has remedies to appeal after trial. He knows that he has still the whole arsenal of ways to defend Justin, and he's focused in on those. He doesn't sound defeated. He sounded disappointed, but yeah, I don't buy that even at this point, with most of his cross complaint dismissed, that he's looking for a settlement, absent some kind of major retraction by Lively, maybe in the form of
Friedman. I've heard people say Brian Friedman's the guy you hire if you want to settle. I don't know anything about the guy really, other than what he's been like.
I mean, I don't know about that, man. I think that you generally don't hire attorneys for the purpose of settlement when you have these kinds of stakes. Friedman is a legendary trial attorney. He's a legendary attorney in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I don't know these things. Like I know nothing about them other than
I mean, case, so. You could say that really about any. The fact is that I might have 100 cases, and out of those 100 cases, 95 of them are going to settle. Would people then say that I'm the guy that you hired if you want to settle the case? No. The fact is, litigation is expensive. Most people do not want to have all their shit out there in a trial. Most people don't want to go through the process of a trial. It sucks. And so if it's not worth it to go to trial, most people don't. And 95% of the time, it's not worth it.
I would only hire you if I planned on copying someone's YouTube video and then making it worse. So I don't know. We're still. I think we're like halfway through the statute of limitations on that. I mean, he made it very clear he was going to hang that over my head. Whatever.
Oh, we got things to hang over that guy's head, for that matter.
Omar, keep your dick in your pants.
Jesus Christ, Lord. This is not that kind of show. Diane,
it's really late. I'm so tired.
Do you think she will have the PR write up an article slamming Baldoni and Friedman after her deposition? I would highly doubt it. Just the way that she has gone about. I think the strategy thus far has been to allow Brian Friedman to make the PR mistakes so that they could try to find a way to win some PR battles. And right now, because they haven't engaged Friedman, these PR wars, Friedman's kind of been fighting with himself, and he's the only one that's been getting in trouble with that. And so it gives the appearance like he's the dick.
I mean, I hate to see it, but I love to see it at the same time, because like some of those comments are so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But
no, I like Friedman.
Not good. Not good at the same time. If that was my lawyer, I'd be pissed. But at the same time, as a spectator, I'm like, fuck yeah, this is great.
I mean, the best strategy that I think is brilliant on their part, and I don't want to be accused of calling them brilliant. I'm just saying that I guess that's the move. When there's not a way to win the PR battle against Brian Friedman, who's a master at it, just let him fight with himself and then file protective motions and make it look like he's the one getting in trouble, which he has been. Yeah. But that's the best strategy, and they've at least been successful at that. MCH High Life. What does that stand for? MC High Life.
MC's probably initials. But...
If BL perjures herself, is it likely she will request a dismissal? I think she might. She's very self-delulu, in my opinion. Blake Lively doesn't know the truth. ATP. What is ATP?
At this point.
At this point. If she perjures herself, no, I don't think that she has to necessarily perjure herself. I think that if she feels like she got her ass kicked in this deposition, she's going to be more likely to settle. 100%. Like, this is how it's going to go.
I just think she'll be more likely to play victim, but okay.
I mean, she's already, the victim thing, but if they make her look ridiculous and if she feels that, and her attorney's like, look,
the more ridiculous she feels, the more she tries to play the victim card. It's absolutely fucking dumb.
Yeah.
But
Rob says, Blake will use, I don't remember, or I don't recall as a response, that way she's saved from purging yourself. The good thing about that is she can only not remember or not recall
purging,
so many
like
things.
Purging food, and I'm just like, guys, that's not what's going on here.
This is sober Lauren, I want to point out.
Sober Lauren's a lot weirder than drunk Lauren. So
yeah, what I was going to say about that was the good thing about her use of I don't remember, I don't recall is so many of the communications are recorded in text messages So they could just, oh, well, would it refresh your recollection to look at the text message? And then if she says, I don't remember, I don't recall at that point, at some point, she just looks like a dumbass. And it really
B-Better
attacks her
wants to know where the
credibility.
deposition will be. I don't think the deposition is going to be in the penthouse, but no doubt she invited them, but probably
No,
not.
it'll be at probably one of their law offices, probably in New York somewhere. And, maybe they rent an office for the day or something. There's literally companies that accommodate depositions where they have like hors d'oeuvres and appetizers, and they go out and everybody gets lunch. No, it's like they'll have like
it was that much of a business.
They will, we have the court reporters here. We got the conference room here. We got separate rooms for individual mediation if we need it. They'll have somebody out go and take lunch orders and go out and get lunch. They'll have like little hors d'oeuvres at the beginning and coffee and stuff, all the things, all the fixins, very much like a movie shoot. I used to love those until LA is so dramatic with their depositions, man.
Well,
I mean, I know you've never been like in a deposition, like in a big LA high rise, but they really play it up. And the whole point of that is they try to, there's a psychology behind it. Like you could literally have like a deposition over Zoom. That's one thing. And let the person being deposed be in the comfort of their own home. They're doing the deposition in their slippers, or you could bring them to an LA high rise.
I've done that, dude. I've been in one of those.
Oh, you've been in a deposition?
Over Zoom, yes.
Oh, so there's that way of doing it. Now, imagine your deposition and you have to go to downtown LA where it's a pain in the ass to get there.
I'd rather not imagine that. No.
In this top, this high rise somewhere at some office building that you're unfamiliar. You don't know anybody, and everybody's looking at you sideways. Everybody's dressed up in suits.
Okay, well, so far we're leaning towards I'm about to jump off the high rise.
They got cameras in your face. They got a conference table full of attorneys all looking at you, and half of them don't even need to be there. It's all because they want to make you uncomfortable. This is going to be like that kind of a deposition, I'd imagine.
I don't know. This is kind of sounds.
And by the way, she can bring her friends. She can bring her friends within reason. But if they're not parties to the case, you could also object to that. And by the way, Friedman's going to have more attorneys to sit there that they're going to overwhelm whoever her friends or buddies are. She's going to feel really uncomfortable. There's no getting around it. So she's going to have to mentally prepare for that, because this is not going to be. She's not calling the shots with this depo. I'll tell you that.
Well, she certainly thinks she will. So
what is the Pussy Squad? She said, not the Pussy Squad. What is that?
I have no idea, but it sounds like I'm in. What?
What time is the deposition scheduled? I don't know what time it's scheduled, but it's scheduled for tomorrow. They'll probably start like at 8:30, 9 a.m. Blake is going in with the Army, and they could all sit their ass in the lobby because we need all of our attorneys in the room. There's only so much room. Sorry, y'all got to sit outside. Are you part of the case? Then get your ass out of here. And they'll be really firm on that. I know I would. If that becomes like an objection, then write a motion.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense.
Anyway, but you could see like how these depositions get really contentious because the judge is not in there. This is just the attorneys. And you could imagine you could imagine the egos that walk into that room. The pissing matches, it's just depositions are just such a pain in the ass. They're so dramatic. Attorneys are so dramatic. Depositions are one of the main reasons why I just flat out hate attorneys.
You're an attorney.
No, I do. I agree. But attorneys are my least favorite people. Grab your clitorals from my dozers. The hell is a dozer?
No.
Is it? I'm serious. No. What is a dozer? What's with that reaction?
Oh my god! I can't believe you just said that. I'm going back to dick.
Could I just get an explanation? What is a dozer? Like, why was that so objectionable?
A dozer is a Donna Bowling, a daily dose of Donna. It's dosers. You know Donna.
I know Donna, but why is doser like this?
Daily dose of Donna. So dosers. Doser. Oh. I just told you right now, weirdo.
You know what?
You want me to spell it out for you again?
No, Jesus. I'm good now.
All right.
Anyway, do you got any other questions about this lively depo, or do the people? Because I feel like we pretty much covered everything, no?
I don't know. Right now, I'm just thinking I have to talk to Donna about this whole grab your clitorals thing because we need to stop that.
Oh. Well, just know there was
I'm caught off guard.
It was like a week or so ago or 2 weeks ago that we were talking about maybe doing a show together. I don't know if that's gonna happen. I'll have to reach back out
Donna,
to her.
yeah.
Yeah, she's got back from vacation, I think. Rob says, "Drink up, Omar."
I don't know, man. I went from talking to nobody to talking to everybody this last couple weeks.
Yo,
so it's been,
you were texting me, "Hey, I'm talking to this person," and that was like, Jesus Christ, Lauren.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
I said nothing.
We're not talking about that. Nope.
No. Well, I was just talking about your nephews. Avion water. Do you know where that comes from?
I know. I don't want you to tell people who I talk to and who I don't talk to. So.
My dad?
No, your dad and I are boning. Everyone knows that.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm talking about like interviews and stuff like that. You know.
Oh no, I don't know anything about your interviews. I was literally talking about your. Never mind. Anyway,
no, I'm just trying to shout over you as loud as possible, just in case I didn't tell you not to say anything. It's like, oh fuck, I tell you everything, so it's like I have to remember to say.
I do
Omar,
for a living. I'm pretty damn good
you
at
can't say this. Oh no, you've messed up so many times.
When would have been the last time?
Well, what would be the purpose of me announcing it right now? Do you think that would be helpful to me?
The fact that I don't even know what you're talking about.
When you did that, we'll talk about this later.
All right. She has ew. That's
Lady,
a new one.
Oh, I just got less gay. I mean, what are you guys doing? This show got so messy.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, Lauren. Omar trying to out your life, Lauren. No, I'm not. I'm proud of my friend is all.
No, dude, he's always telling my secrets.
There. Yeah.
This isn't the Lord's work, that's for sure.
If you both could ask Blake any one question tomorrow during her deposition, what would it be? Well, one is difficult. It'd have to be a question that I think that she would answer. I don't know. What would your question be, Lauren?
Why are you such an entitled little cunt?
That's a question. But do you think that she would answer that question or just like call you a misogynist?
That's an answer.
I don't have to answer this misogynistic question.
I would have to really, really think about that because there's so many questions that I would want to ask.
I would ask her off the record.
Mostly about like the eye contact and the breastfeeding thing, I think, with Jamie, which is just totally, I don't know. I feel like that was unfair to him. And to characterize that as sexual harassment to me, I think that's probably where I would go first.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't ask her anything about her sexual harassment.
Obviously, all that information. So, what's up?
This is what I would ask her. Off the record, I would ask her, so what's it like being married to Ryan Reynolds? Like, is that like legit? Like, I'd want to know, like, is this like for business or like I don't know. Is this a legitimate marriage? I'd want to know. Like, if I was her friend, I would ask her that. Like, what's really going on there? Are you okay? I would ask her, like, are you in like some kind of a jackpot that you can't get out of? Like, what's really going on there? Like,
I can't tell if I froze or
on the premise that these SH complaints are kind of ridiculous. Is this because of Ryan? Is he jealous of Justin? Did you have a crush on that guy? You could tell me. Attorney-client privilege.
I'm gonna give that a hard yes.
She would not answer my questions. I know that, but my legitimate question is: did you think? Was there a world where you thought that you were going to have like a romantic interlude with Justin Baldoni? Did Ryan find out somehow? Is that why you're on about all of this?
Cassidy says, why didn't she? Hey, where'd it go? Okay, where did it go? Why can she not believe that we organically hate her? Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, I feel like.
Well, I think that, I think that in that profession, I mean, just think about it. Like, since you started your YouTube channel and you started to become like this marginally public figure where like there's people that like send you shitty things for no reason, you have to develop like this huge, like callous towards those kinds of comments, to the point where I think you almost become delusional. So if it ever becomes the case that you're organically hated, like justifiably, you've probably already trained yourself through a lifetime living in the public to disregard negative comments and only bathe in the positive ones, which would give you a false sense
I can't
of your
relate to that,
standing in
man.
society.
I can't relate to that at all. Everything is always, it's organic for sure, and I'm gonna think it's my fault. So I'm the opposite. So this makes no fucking sense to me. This weird crusade over the smear campaign thing. I'm like, dude,
well, 10 years from now,
yourself.
if you start like big leaguing people, start losing complete sense.
What?
Big leaguing, like you get too big for your britches, like you're
That's
big
happened
enough
a few times, but usually I just get a bigger size. Sorry, what was your point?
I don't even know anymore. I've lost my point.
I have no idea what you're trying to ask.
I'm just saying one day you're going to get so famous that you're going to lose track of organic reality.
That would be disgusting. I would absolutely hate being famous.
How would you even know that would happen? I don't
like group attention. Group attention is my nightmare.
Yeah, it's just that my experience with famous people is that they seem to have lost their grip on organic reality. To the point where they don't care. They live in their own sheltered shell, I guess. And in that way, they could be as shit as they want to be and not worry about what everybody's saying. And because there's people that have tied themselves to themselves, they will have their ego stroked one way or the other, either organically or artificially, and it makes no difference to them. How about that? Hey, chat, what would be your one question? That's a great question. What would you guys ask Blake Lively? I'd love to know. My question, if she felt she was SH'd, why did she allow JB on a jet and around her children? I already know what her answer would be.
What?
If I was her attorney preparing her for that question, what I would tell her is, look, people are going to ask you, if you were so afraid of Justin Baldoni, if he was so inappropriate, why would you do things? Why were you friends with him? This is your answer. You hoped that he would correct his behavior. You had voiced your displeasure multiple times, and you believed him when he said that he was a champion for women's rights, and you had every expectation that he would correct course. And when he didn't, you were left emotionally scarred in a way that's irreversible, leading to this lawsuit. That would
emotionally scarred in a way that's irreversible because this happened multiple times. So emotionally scarred in a way that's irreversible to the point you're inviting him on a jet with your children?
Yes, because not to would be to give in to this idea that she was victimized and she was trying to salvage the film and enduring the many inappropriate actions of Justin Baldoni.
Fuck you. Sorry. I know you're just playing hypothetical. Absolutely not.
Hey, lawyers are good at this shit, you know? We'll say, we spin anything. I just know she would give an answer similar to that, which is why juries are so important. This is why I hate lawyers. I don't like lawyers. I don't.
I'm going to be sure to tell every single one of our friends.
Lauren, you just cut out. Nobody heard what you just said.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, you said you're going to make sure to tell all of our friends something and then.
Yeah, no, I said I was going to tell all of our friends who are also attorneys that you said that, just to make it personal.
Oh, no, that's cool. You could tell. I whenever I meet attorneys, I make no secret of the fact that I hate attorneys. It's like, look, we got to meet and confer. I don't want to talk to you. You don't want to talk to me. Can we just get this over with? So
I don't know a single attorney that I don't like, actually.
I really don't want this to be misconstrued as
I don't actually have any. There are no friends of mine who are attorneys that I think are bad people or I don't like or I think are obnoxious like that. I don't know anybody who acts like that, to be honest. So.
No. And you make a good point. You have friends. Not all attorneys are that way. And the ones that are not are your friends. The ones that are like that are generally not your friends and they generally have no friends. So.
No, but they have non-monetized YouTube channels. So they need friends for
guy. He's got bigger problems. I wanted to just put a disclaimer. I'm in no way supporting Blake Lively making arguments on her behalf. I'm just simply answering hypotheticals. No. Yeah, just please don't misconstrue that. I don't want to catch hate because I gave like a a hypothetical answer
Oh
to a
God, we do
Blake
not
Lively
need that.
question. Yeah.
You know how many people would have to fight on Twitter if you got in trouble for that? I wouldn't do anything
Michelle
else for like 3 days.
Michelle says, I'd ask, would you have still some thus to stand up for the other women and filed the lawsuit if your public image was good? Break that down for me, Lauren. What is this question really asking?
Like if there was no retaliation campaign, basically, would you still have filed this lawsuit about, sexual harassment?
Oh yeah,
Because she's saying that she wants to stand up for women and girls, and that obviously has to do with the sexual harassment portion of this lawsuit. And so she's asking if there was no sort of retaliation campaign, would you still have done this? Would you still have filed a lawsuit?
I highly doubt it. But that also speaks to Justin's theory of the case. The only reason she was doing this was for personal gain.
Well, the person she was working with confirmed as much in a fucking NPR interview that I guess nobody was really paying attention to until now.
So. Now, did I hear you correctly that when that interview took place before the CRD complaint?
The conversation took place before the CRD complaint. The interview took place after the CRD complaint, directly after that, and after the New York Times article came out. So,
got it.
The conversation between them when she said, I'm doing this because of the not the harassment, but the smear campaign of it, that happened before she filed the complaint. Yes.
Desperately Seeking Dopamine says, she's going to go off script and start monologuing. She can't help herself. And Friedman is going to crack her facade. Mean Girls is going to start showing. Oh, I fully believe that. One of my favorite things to do as an attorney is to cross-examine folks and to get under their skin to the point where they crack and they start monologuing. Once that happens, you've done your job. You won. You've won the deposition. Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, what if you were doing a Zoom deposition and they were doing like an Omar style impassioned monologue and their mic just cut out the way yours always does, or you just like left the screen?
If I care about the deposition, like it's a really big one, I won't ever do a Zoom. I'll make them come to my office, or I'll go to their office, or we'll do something like that.
That's fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. Shopaholic says, a question. We are surprised that Blake's didn't stop the lawsuits. Do you guys believe she has something that's gonna surprise us, or what's gonna surprise us? Are we surprised that Blake's didn't stop the lawsuit?
No, she dropped her emotional distress claims, and I firmly believe, and this is a total personal opinion, that that's because she doesn't have any evidence of emotional distress. I don't think that she ever had sought any treatment. I don't think there was ever any true distress. And so, like, I think there's a lot of stuff she's going to kind of fold on.
I think it's probably that, or it might be that she has stuff in her medical records that she doesn't want getting out. She don't want people diving in and figure out that she has some, like, she went to therapy for like 3 years for marriage counseling or something.
Man, I just don't think that's it. I think there's just no therapy records, frankly.
Maybe not. And now they can't even talk about it. So, Christina says, damn it, Omar, you Blake supporter. Yeah. Observer.
I'll get the blonde wig.
I know. Next time I'll come out with a blonde wig.
I would die. Like, just actually die.
By the way, Cassidy agrees with you. She just didn't have any evidence in the first place, which is probably the case. They always knew there was no merit to that cause of action. I generally agree. I just know that the only other reason why is if it was the other thing would be because there's medical stuff that they don't want people seeing. But you're right, it's probably no evidence thing. Ask her if she's ever filed a complaint with SAG or the studio on any project. Oh, they will. Throughout her career, for any incidents, if the answer is yes, they can point out that she knows the protocol. My guess is they already know the answer to that question because it was asked in Discovery.
I think she did. Didn't she do that with a makeup artist?
I don't remember if she did.
Somebody in the chat, can you tell me if that was a formal process? I know that she complained about a makeup artist. I don't know if it was a formal process. Can somebody help me out with that? Cassidy.
Here's another question. Why did you talk about the saging of her?
In 2017, she did. Okay.
And him talking to her dead father. I have no idea what that's referring to. Do you know?
So there's some dispute over the dead father thing. And I wish I could remember the specifics. She claims Justin was saying that he spoke to her dead father, which was like a really touchy point for her. But they maintain a different kind of version of events there, where it wasn't actually like the way that she's describing it. And I don't want to like misstate it, so I'm not going to say much more than that. But I know
Yeah.
it's in the first amended. Um, there's like a description of that that's much different than what they're painting. So I don't know exactly what was said there on Justin's side, but I know that it was obviously framed much differently in Blake's. So
Khaleesi Direwolf says that Kurt's wig looks better than Blake's actual hair, which I gotta say, that wig looked pretty convincing. I was convinced for like an hour that it was her hair. Is like, wait a minute. And I remember just like thinking that that's not the way that I thought that she looked. And I was like trying to like go back and I was like, wait a minute, that's a wig. Oh, I see what she did.
Well, it didn't look like it could just be natural hair, man. It didn't look like a wig too much. I've just seen her enough times that I was kind of like, what are you what is this?
Yeah, I think we already got to that one.
You did, yeah.
And we got to this one too. Okay. Well, folks, I'm going to wrap up tonight. I think we've covered this as extensively as we can. We are going to know more tomorrow. And the second it comes out, I know that Lauren's going to be breaking it at some point. I'll be in the middle of doing something lawyerly.
You think I've been paying attention to that?
That's how I get my news about Blake Lively. I just like, I randomly look up and holy shit, Lauren's live. What happened with the Lively case? And so there's a reason why you get like a $1,000 Pacer build. Hopefully the fundraiser helps.
A little late.
Yeah, well,
it did for the Pornhub. I mean, I can't believe you did that, but it did.
Are you trying to say that you're not a Pornhub premium person and that you need a, I don't know,
that's absolutely what I'm saying.
Okay. So what you
nothing.
Want is more donations for
Pornhub. If I wanted to, oh my god, I'm not like what do you think oh my god, I'm not.
You're the one that talked about premium. I had nothing to do with this.
You brought that shit up. Do not. You brought that shit up. No, if I don't need a Pornhub premium. If I need something like that, I would just go on Tinder, okay, and then I would go back to my being alone for 3 months, and then I'll do it all again the next cycle. I don't need premium for that. Okay, this is cheaper. It's fine.
Stay off Tinder. That's such a bad idea. Such a bad idea. I mean, whatever. Yeah. You live and you learn.
I'm not at work at this point. It's been a long time. So I've been single most of my adult life. It's like I know how to work the Tinder appropriately.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Michelle says, donate to Lauren's trip to Dildo North. What?
Fucking hate you guys.
Donate to there's a link here. I'm just gonna leave that one up. Trip to Dildo NL. What is?
I don't know what Dildo NL is. I don't know what NL is. It might have something to do with. I was telling this story on Zach's show the other day, and I don't think I told you I went on Zach's show, but I did.
You did tell me that.
And I was telling him. I did. Okay, so I was telling him the story about my first sponsorship offer on YouTube, which is, still the only one that I've gotten to date, to my knowledge, because I don't check my email that much. But
yeah.
It was for a sex toy company. And they wanted me to like hawk dildos for money per video or something. I was like, oh,
why would they ask you? You don't even have that kind of channel.
No, I have no fucking idea. It was the most random thing ever. I was like, how did you find me? And why are you asking me? I just ghosted eventually. I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't care how much you're gonna pay me. I'm not doing that.
I almost feel a little jealous. I've never gotten an offer from a sex toy company for a sponsorship. All the sponsorship offers I got.
Give them your email? Because
no, I don't. I would never. I mean, but the sponsorship offers I got was like for like lawyer stuff, like identity protection and stuff.
You're a lawyer. I'm not like a dildo lunatic. I don't know why they think that I'm gonna start selling dildos. Like they wanted me to do like these things they were talking about, like giveaways and stuff like that. I was like, you want me to give away dildos? I'm not doing that.
Oh, if you did the Baldoni voicemail, you might, Omar. What's the Baldoni voicemail?
The one that he sent like late at night, that they were saying that he was creepy in or whatever, but He
Oh.
was basically just really placating her a bunch. You've heard it. You've heard it. There's no you haven't.
No, I have not. Should I look for it or should I not?
I think you have. I think once you hear it, you're gonna be like, "Oh yes, I've heard this before." This was months and months ago. So.
All right. Well, if I've heard it, I forgot. All right. On that note, I think before it gets any more unhinged, I think we should go. What do you think about that?
You don't want to talk more about the weird sex contract that I was offering?
No, man. I don't think I want to talk about sex contracts or dildos or.
That's fine. I'll forward it to you. Don't worry about
it. Bruce says a dildo is a town in Newfoundland.
Is it? Okay. Go. I didn't know that.
So it's a real place, is what we're saying. Oh boy, look at the chat. This is where we're going. It's so corny. What's corny? The voicemail?
Oh, that is corny. It was corny.
Yeah. All right. All right, folks. That's all I got for you today. I will see you guys tomorrow, and we'll see how we will find out whether or not Blake actually was deposed. I'd imagine sometime in the afternoon. If for whatever reason it doesn't happen, you'll know right away, I'd imagine. But we'll see. We'll have more for you guys tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a thing about Karen Reed finally tomorrow. I'm also going to be doing a thing about the Tyler Perry scandal.
Oh, shit, I want to do that too. Yeah, I need to do that.
Yeah. Well, catch up on that so we could do it together maybe at some point.
Because I've not even looked at that shit yet. So.
Yeah. Well, it's get caught up on it, and then we'll see what we can do. But I'm doing those shows in the afternoon, and then we'll see if we could. We'll see how tomorrow goes.
I'll probably watch because I'll be here working in the hotel. So
for those of you that have jobs, I apologize, but the weekend is coming to an end, and get ready for your Monday and the real world and all of that. And on that note, I will see you guys, I guess, tomorrow. Good night.
All right.